everything that you're seeing right here with the Back to the Future symbolism. Because the people that made the Back to the Future symbolism video made it several years ago. And then Back to the Future, of course, was made a long time ago as well. So first we're going to go over the Marty McFly correlations to Mary and the Phoenix and the Phoenician. Okay, and then we're going to take a field trip. So I believe this archetype is the Clinton archetype. And this one is the Trump archetype, and I'll explain. So if you watch Back to the Future Symbolism Decoded, you'll see that Marty McFly is Pluto and Hades. He wears the rainbow. Okay, and he is the Phoenite or the Phoenician Canaanite. So anytime you take a T and you put it in anything in Canaanite Phoenician, it makes it masculine. So this T here is actually male. So if we were to take it out and make it female, then it would be, of course, Mary. So we have that, and then we have Pluto, and this is symbolized when he kicks his skateboard in, and of course hits the plutonium. Interesting side note, when my friend's grandma died, she was in the hospital, and she was like, the plutonium, they're taking it all, and we're like, and wheelbarrows are taking the plutonium. And I remember, what is she saying? I was maybe 15 at the time, and I was really interested in what she was saying because she seemed so convinced. And then she would say, get him out of here, get him out of here. And my friend's mom would like cast these spirits out, and then she would like go back to sleep. So this is not my first encounter with like plutonium being weird. You know, I'm not really from the atomic age. So we have him doing the skateboard, and then to further solidify that he is Hades, he has his helm of darkness, which he puts on the hat, and then he goes invisible, and this is all explained. Now, and also, who else wears the helm of darkness? Magneto, okay? And then, of course, the Phoenix is the most, the strongest of all the signs, has the most magnetism of all the signs, those two. So, rainbow. So he wears like the rainbow hat. Also, the fifth element, Jean-Baptiste ZORG. John the Baptist ZORG is wearing also the same type of rainbow colored jacket. So that's something to look into. So we know that John is Ion as is in the ionosphere, and then that's John the Baptist, or something they called him Ionis. And then also that's where we get the, of course, Jewish name Yanni, which is Johnny. Okay, so just moving on with the 8th house, the Scorpio is the 8th house, and we know that this 8 with the 808, and you know, when he says, when this baby hits 88 miles an hour, you're gonna see some serious shit, okay? So we know this 8 is important. And then also we have the Scorpio is the only symbol that has 3 symbols. It has, of course, the scorpion, the eagle, which is the phoenix, and the snake. So it actually has 3. So that should be your first clue that something's up with Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio also has 2 planets, which is Mars, which is Mary, and Pluto. Okay, so we have also, I mean, these are just conjunctions like everywhere you look. So we know that when Sophia fell, the great Aeon, the mad Aeon, the great Aeon Sophia fell from the heavens. They say that her screams created the dimensions coming down, and like, you know, it fractured. They also call her Tiamat, which is funny. It's like Tijuana and Marijuana. Just saying, it's interesting. So you've got Tiamat. So when she fell into the sign of Scorpio, and that is according to John Lash. And I actually heard that on Revolution Radio, and then but you can check it in the archive or YouTube or whatever. And Sophia is from the book of Proverbs. So when John Lash actually says, well, they removed Sophia completely from the Bible, but that's not true, because if you get an older Bible, it doesn't have to be real old. It could just be a couple hundred years old. It can even be just 100 years old, and it will say that she was the craftsman at his side, delighting in his presence always, and she was daily his delight, and her delight was in the good of man. So That is Proverbs. She also says, because I try to tell you what to do and you wouldn't listen, when your hard times come and your calamity comes, like a whirlwind, I'm going to mock you and laugh at me because you mocked and laughed at me, and you're going to seek me early and in the morning, and you will never find me because you have had none of my counsel. So that is Proverbs. Proverbs is a wisdom, it's, you know, the wisdom character of the Bible, but it's not it's not Jesus. Okay, so we know that is Mary, and Mary was this avatar of Sophia. So, and that's why a lot of times you hear people say like like World War, Mary Magdalene, and all these different things. If you look it up, you'll find it. Return of the Divine Feminine, the Return of the Phoenix, the Return of the Phoenician Goddess, the Phoenician, or sometimes they just refer to her as Semiramis because she was also Semiramis in Sumeria, and her consort was Dionysus. So, and then I go through like the John and the Mary and the John and Mary. So Mary is actually the male, and the Yanni and the Aeons is actually the female. So, and you know, Mary is a male's name, Mary and Sam, which is going back even further, like the Genesis story is Lord of the Rings. Get it? Okay. So, Sophia, Mary, Mars is the, you know, wars, because Mars is wars. And then Antichrist. So we know that in Egyptian, Christ was KRST in the Egyptian. This was the Christos oil, and it was also spelled the cursed. And I thought it was cool. I think it was Captain America used this cursed, or Clash of the Titans, one of those. They use this cursed. You will be the last cursed, and he crushes it and he turns all red and goes crazy, whatever. It's Loki and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's Captain America. So she is the anti-cursed, the anti-curse. So that's what you kind of have to understand. And so these two fighting over the tower, we'll do the little tower right here. These two fighting over this tower has been going on since the beginning of our reality. So Mary of Magdala, so Magdala actually meant place of the tower. So people say Mary of the tower, Mary the tower, or Mary who towers over. So this was what she was actually known as. Her last name was not actually Magdala. Contrary to popular belief, but it was actually a title of hers. So I'm gonna switch over to this side now. So now we're gonna go over to this Biff character. So now we have the Marty McFly is, I mean, riddled throughout. And the McFly too, we know that the Semiramis had red hair, Mary Magdalene had the red hair. When she was Isis, they sure was the blonde hair, but she always had red hair, which I think is so funny because in Future-MANDALA, instead of calling it Madison Square Garden, they call it Madison Cube Garden, which is the top of the tower, this cube. And then we've got the Wandering Fool, who is the time traveler, who has the red hair, who is the McFly. Okay, so we're gonna come over here to the Trump side. So we've got Biff, which should be like the most, I'm gonna try and just turn you a little bit. Okay, that should be, oh, we're catching the edge of my set. That should be like your first giveaway, because we've got Hiram of Biff being the, well, the current deity for Freemasonry is John the Baptist. And it used to be Solomon at one point, yeah. But the heroine of Freemasonry is Hiram of Biff, of course, because he did not give the secrets of the pyramids to the ruffians who roughed him up. And then also the story also goes over into the Coral Castle story, where the ruffians came in and roughed up Edward Leete Scowman for the secrets to the pyramid. And then after that was when Homestead Air Force Base moved had Edward move Coral Castle to the location that's now at, which he did overnight. And so to this day, we still don't know how he did all that stuff. And what did he say he built it for? His Sweet 16. So if you look into Coral Castle in Florida at Homestead Air Force Base, it was built for Edward Leete Scowman's Sweet 16, who she said she could not take him because he was too old already. So you've got your Sweet 16, and of course they have lots of Saturn symbolism at Coral Castle. So we're gonna go right back into this allegory over here, this archetype of Hiram and Biff. So each card in the tarot deck is called a trump. So the Trump Tower is actually card number 16. Hiram Biff gets into a checker cab, which is a checkerboard, of course, a calling card. I'm gonna say it's symbolic of the Freemason, but it's definitely a calling card of the Freemasonry. I mean, who cares? But for the sake of symbolism, we're gonna go with this for the symbol-minded. So, we got Hiram Biff in the checkerboard cab, and then he gets into the checkerboard cab. It says Luxor and has the pyramid. So we know that Luxor comes from the word lux, which comes from the word Lucifer, Luke, and it means, of course, light. Another one of these was Sir Lancelot, who was also the light bearer in the King Arthur story of the Sword and the Stone, which the tower is the story of the Sword and the Stone. So, and then you get to the pictures, and hopefully I'll be able to splice these in, like the Biff. It says Tanners for some reason, but it's totally towers if you look at it. And actually it has the two pieces going up. There's an iconic photo of Donald Trump in his Trump Towers. He's on the inside, but it still looks identical to, of course, Biff, but he's lighting his cigarette with burning money. And so you've got that. Of course, I have always known my whole life that Biff was supposed to be Trump. Even when I was young, I'm like, that's Trump, you know, duh, everybody knows that. So, you know, it's kind of like the end of the world in 2000. They said like some cataclysmic event was going to change the world in 2000. It never happened, and then it happened in 2001. And a lot of people said that this was because, you know, the first year didn't start at 1, and then it was over, and the next year, you know, it was 2, it was 1, boom, 1. Now we're on the second one finished. So they say that the date actually came in 2001, and we know that September 11th is the occult new year. So that is interesting. And then same thing with 2012. Everybody knows that in 2012, everything happened in anybody that experienced any of the 2012 activity knows that it happened in 2013. It didn't actually happen in 2012. So there's, of course, that. And then, like I always say, I would like to see, because there were so many put options put on American Airlines and United the morning and the day before 9/11, 2001. So I would like to see what kind of put options were put on those stocks the year before, when people were, how do I say this? Certain people of certain religious backgrounds are aware of dates. So, okay, so we have the two towers turning into one, because this has always been about the two becoming one. This is like the cosmic divorce of all ages. So the two becoming one, it's just like the divine right of kings. Game of Thrones, the divine right of kings is about Misa and Jon Snow uniting the Baratheon and Targaryen households. So it's a symbol of the mother and the father in union together and equality. So, so I'm interested in that being 1 year off, and then the two towers becoming one tower. So I'm interested in how this is going to pan out with these two people. But another thing that didn't go over was the park bench. So, you know, Marty and his girlfriend are sitting on the park bench, and what is behind them, it says Zales. Now, Zales is, of course, the diamonds. So, in the allegory of the diamonds, I don't have these shoes right now to show you, because I don't even own a pair, but Vans shoes, if you flip them over, you will see that on the, so like this is the shoe right here. Say on the ball right here, it has Jewish stars. And then on the top and on the bottom, it has the diamonds everywhere. And that is because they are stamping out the Jews. And that's Vans. So most people don't know what van even means. So you have to look more into it, which I love 30 Rock, because 30 Rock always has tons of crazy things that they say, like you know, Jack Donaghy's mother says, my father didn't die in World War II, so his daughter could get carried away to die in a van, you know. So there's like little tricks and little things drop throughout. You can see the van now in the Back to the Future Symbolism Decoded movie. Of course, what is it that has the Stargate symbol on it? It's a van that they drive. So we're getting into this a little bit more. And then also, you know, if you cut the vans open and rip them up, there's just only a swastika inside. So, and then also I thought it was interesting because a friend of mine, he does Worms Hip Hop, his name's Alan. We were talking and we were just driving around. We went to Ivanhoe to look at Twin Buttes because there's two, they're called Twin Buttes, and they're these two land masses that have been there for a long time. People say they're volcanoes, other people say they're these just two Native American. But at the very top, supposedly, there is a stick figure and he's pointing to the two mountains and then he's pointing and looking up. And so, and I've heard from other people that go out there that if you just, certain times of year, and you just go out there and camp out and lay there, you'll see orbs and you'll see all kinds of crazy stuff out there. So, I thought it was, that's in Ivanhoe, so I thought, and oh, the longitude and latitude is 911-666. So, of the Twin Butte, if you look it up, Twin Butte, Ivanhoe, California. And then Donald Trump named his daughter Ivan. So, I thought it was awesome that a